Hey guys, you know what is, I brought my basket for my Comfrey, but I forgot my snips. Now, I've seen a lot of people do this with scissors. So I don't have like garden scissors, I just have these little snips. And I probably have 5 pairs of these because I'm famous for leaving them here and there, but that's neither here nor there. So, but I'm gonna try and do it with my snips. And the reason I'm doing the Comfrey, as most of you might know from previous videos, is I suffer from arthritis in my hands that prevents me sometimes from doing those things that I love. Or I can still do them, but it's with a lot of discomfort. So I heard about Comfrey, tried forever to get root, couldn't find root. I knew a lot of people on YouTube that grew it and a lot of people that I talked to and associate with, but I couldn't get anybody to share a root with me. So I ordered some root after doing some more research, because I was like, oh, you could probably just order this and plant it. So I got root, sent it in, I babied it all through the fall, through the winter, come spring of this year, and then I went ahead and planted it in the ground. I really didn't know if it would survive because I had hung on to it for so long and it would wilt and come back and wilt and come back, and I really didn't know much about it. So the reason I'm growing Comfrey for me is I have been studying it a little bit, and I do know that there's a salve you can make that's for deep tissue wounds, for bruising, achiness, like sore back, muscle aches, arthritis. It has so many uses, you guys. I mean, we could talk about it all day and never cover them all. Now, I'm not a doctor. I don't profess to be one. I'm not a herbologist and all that. I'm just a gardener looking for solutions for myself. So, I have learned of a Comfrey salve that you can make. And so now a lot of people, some people dry their herbs, they take them, they hang them, they dry them. Some people cure their herbs, and by that, it's what you do to cure them. They say there's a difference. When you dry them, you still have a little bit of maybe the moisture in the stem and stuff, that they're dry to the feel and everything, but when you try to bend them and stuff like that, they kind of crackle and break with drying them. But if you cure them, it's where you put them in an enclosed, like a closet. A closet in your house you could use if you don't have anything else. But I've seen where some people bought like those little shelving units, took the shelves off, and then just use netting because you want to have airflow. So to cure it, you cut your leaves, you put it on the netting, you have a little dehydrator in there that sucks the moisture out of the air and out of everything that's in there. It leaves them the most beautiful green color ever. And when you pick them up and they're dry, but they're cured. So that's about all I know about it. But for this purpose that I'm going to study that more. But for the purpose of what I want to do today, is I'm going to cut these leaves. Then I'm going to put them in my dehydrator because I want to get moving on this. I don't want to wait 6 to 10 weeks for everything to dry out. And so the first one that I'm going to do is I'm going to do it in my dehydrator. So I'm going to cut these leaves. I'm going to put them in the dehydrator way down low, about 125. Consistently check on them until they're dry. As you don't want to have the moisture in the plants or in the stems, because when you're making your salves and stuff, and any of the moisture in there can cause you, it's not good, so you don't want that. So I'm going to have them good and dry. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them up, and then I'll probably run them through my food processor just to break them down, or my magic bullet just to kind of break them down a little bit more. Then I'm going to infuse them in some oil. Then I'm going to add some beeswax. I'm probably going to add some tea tree oil and some vitamin E, because both of those things are good, and the tea tree oil is good, like an anti-fungal and all of that. So what I've just shared with you is about as much as I've picked up, enough to be dangerous. But I'm going to try it. You know, if you've watched me, you know that the one thing I always say is, I'm going to try. And what's the worst thing that could happen? Honestly. Maybe I rush it this first time because I'm anxious, my thumbs are hurting, and I just really want to get something to help me to try it. And while I'm trying that, if it could ease a little pain, then I'll leave these others to hang and dry naturally to make another batch. But I wanted to get started on it. Another reason is that you can make a poultice from this. A poultice is like a moist, wet pack. So let's say you sprained your arm super, super bad. I mean, you just sprained your arm. It's just like, oh, and all this stuff. You can take these right off of here right now. I could cut them up, put them in a plastic bag, beat the crap out of them with a meat tenderizer and get all the leaves broken up and the stems and all the oil and juice out of it in that bag. Then you just take it out of that plastic bag and form it, because it'll be real pliable. You form it. Then you're going to put down a little piece of cotton or some kind of gauze here, and you're going to just put that moist Comfrey, and you're going to shape it right there where the injury is on that cotton or what do you call that, gauze. And then you're going to put some plastic wrap or something like that over it. And then you're going to wrap it with like a regular ace bandage type thing. And that is going to start that deep healing in that muscle or the ligament or whatever. That's what I've learned. Now, I'm going to say again, I'm not an herbologist. I'm not a doctor. Research, study, and find what you think will work for you. But it's kind of funny because, I mean, it's not funny, but my sister just took a really bad fall at the lake. She busted her wrist. They had to go in and operate and put in a plate and some screws. She still doesn't have feeling in her hands and things like that. They're not sure if the nerves are going to heal and she'll be able to use this hand and this arm in the future. So it really got me to thinking a lot too. Now she's wrapped from finger to elbow, so there's nothing I can do with this for her now. However, you know, when she sat over the weekend in extreme pain, had I thought about this, I could have made one of those up to put on her arm. But anyway, so I'm going to get my Comfrey cut, and we are going to, and then what I'm going to do is wash it and lay it out to start drying a little bit, because, you know, I've got something else in the dehydrator right now. But I'm going to get started. So I'm just going to cut some of these leaves here at the bottom. Comfrey is fast growing, and once you get it planted, it's hard to get rid of it, because the root system is so prolific and strong. And you can come in here and cut these, and then they'll just come back like no other. I mean, real fast. So you can't hurt it. And the other thing I might say to you is that if you're sensitive, you know, I want to show you this. Let's see. This one's a good one. I want to show you on a Comfrey. Look, can you see these little hairs right here? Now, they don't bother me at all, but they might bother some people, so maybe you want to wear gloves. But look at this leaf, and look at all these. Just like, doesn't it remind you almost of the human anatomy? I mean, really, if you think about it, all the little veins and where they go, and the stem, and I don't know, it kind of does me. And then this is the back of it. Okay, so this is Comfrey. Every garden should have it. Seriously, you know, you guys probably know all this, but here's another interesting piece of information. Do you know that Comfrey is also known as knit bone? It's been around, I think, for a couple thousand years, but you can check that fact. But it's called knit bone because of how it's used to heal the bones, like broken bones, cracked bones, fractured bones, things like that. But go check it out, Comfrey, knit bone. See what you can find out about it. You're gonna be amazed at what you can learn. So I'm not gonna make a big, huge batch. I'm just gonna make a little bit. And then, but these little pricklies don't bother me, but like I said, they might bother some people. Here's another interesting fact about Comfrey you might not have known, but I'm going to tell you. You knew I would, didn't you? Do you know that you can take these leaves and just put them in a pot and let the rainwater get in there on them and just let them sit, and they're going to stink to high heaven. This is what I do with it, because it makes like a Comfrey tea for your garden, a natural fertilizer. check it out, how you can do it. And actually what I'm gonna do tomorrow, I've been using this little pot right here. It just sits out by my garden, and then when it gets water in it, I've just been throwing it on my plants. So, and I just dumped some out over there by my broccoli. Not broccoli, because I lost all it, what do you call it, Brussels sprouts. Anyway, stunk to high heaven, but it's a great fertilizer for your garden. Another thing is, you can feed these to your animals. If you have goats and stuff like that, which I don't, you can feed these to them. Okay, there's so many uses. Like I said, I could go on and on and on, but I'm not going to do that. Just going to harvest some of this stuff up here and get to making some Comfrey salve, and I'll take you along for that on another thing. But I know this is kind of long. Y'all probably won't even watch the whole thing, but I hope you've learned something. Thanks for coming along. And the other thing I want to say is I appreciate you. I love you. Happy gardening. This is Rochelle at Legacy Home and Garden. Have a great day, and happy gardening, friends.